Hello, hello. I am Cassie Brown, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Amplify My Impact podcast. After years of consulting and managing programs for some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry, I am on a mission to expand our contribution, to grow, scale, and create more so we can do and give more. This podcast celebrates entrepreneurs who are boldly stepping up to own their calling, expand their influence, and stretch outside their comfort zone, who've decided to stop playing it small, pick up the mantle of contribution, and serve at a higher level to lead by example and light the way for others. If that's you, then get ready to amplify. There's a fire that burns inside your soul, and we're going to ignite it into a roaring blaze of unstoppable momentum. Hi, everybody. I'm Cassie Brown. Welcome back to Amplify My Impact. I have with me today the incredible Miss Holly Flick. She is such a genius, so much so that she is at Hello Holly Flick on all social media channels. And I just love that about her because I don't even have to think about how I'm going to contact her sometimes. She is a high volume content strategist. She built her very own software to ease the transition into like social media content domination. She helps influencers scale their content with a lean team of VAs. And we are diving in to, we had already planned on having an interview, but we were just sort of laying the foundation within the environment that we're at. And we're going to talk about how you can dominate this content in an environment of a crisis and how, you know, and we'll go into the different scenarios and the knee-jerk reactions of some companies and look at the environment of some decisions that leaders have made. And how they're going to kind of make it through this time. But Holly she has such a wonderful outlet and outlook on this opportunity. So Holly, welcome. I cannot wait to share with everybody just your mind-blowing genius.
Thank you. I'm super excited that we're finally making this happen.
Yeah. So before we got started, I know you guys on the podcast can't see, but Holly is in the coolest little office space. And so we got a virtual tour. And, you know, and where we find ourselves, you know, we were talking about competing over this office space with our families at home and just that shift in dynamic. But likewise, there's the same shift in dynamic socially with consumption and attention. And we were touching base as we were sort of outlining, you know, the bullet points for the podcast. So, but before we get into that, Holly, how did you find yourself where you're at today? Like, give us a little bit of background on, you know, what your passions are, how you developed your strategy, and just your overall outlook on life.
Absolutely. You know, communication has always been a blessing and a curse for me, right? I was the kid who got in trouble for talking in class all the time when I was younger. But, you know, as I moved into adulthood, my degree is actually in philosophy and comparative religion, which lended itself to absolutely nothing after college. So I didn't want to teach it. Got married pretty early and supported my husband by going into corporate sales and marketing, where I just ended up finding a happy place. Did really well there before we had some kids. And then when we had kiddos, made the decision to stay home and ended up, we have a kiddo with special needs. And I ended up spending a good chunk of time, a lot of years at home, in and out of the hospital and treatments and things for her. And kind of shifted my focus into, I need to be able to use this drive to create and this drive to communicate in a different environment. So how do I do that at home? We live in a pretty small town outside of Seattle in the mountains here in the Cascades in Washington State in the US. And there aren't a ton of options for me to work at home and in town here. So it was just one of those things where I just had to create something else. So I started my own marketing firm, started doing PR for corporations and nonprofits, which is where I came from in the corporate world. And then that has transitioned into my real love, which is just organic content. So content we don't pay for on social platforms in particular, but all across digital media. And it's an exciting, challenging time right now for our country to be in this crisis, but it's exciting to be sitting where I am, watching the landscape over the last 10 years in digital media and knowing that there has never been, nor may there ever be an opportunity like this for content and for businesses to make a huge impact globally, really. So that's kind of the background and to the foreground right now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. I never realized how parallel our backstories are. And 8 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and so that was a shift that took me down a very similar path. Was before I was a wedding photographer working the weekends, and it's one of those things like, how do you scale that? How do you scale 52 weeks a year? And it's it's almost like and I think what everyone finds themselves in this day and time is a sort of trauma. So you went through it with your child, we went through it with my husband, and it's that shift it's a permanent shift in perspective that makes you look at things completely differently. You value your time, you value your creative resources, you realize that you were made for a purpose and you don't have a minute to waste implementing and contributing. So like what you went through, like forced you to create the business that you have today. And it's not like it was all mapped out on a piece of paper. Like the clouds parted and the angels started singing and it was like, oh, this is my clear path. And it was straight as an arrow. It's just one of those things where it's like you get really resourceful, you get really focused because you value your time with the people that you love and the lifestyle that you want. And so now it's almost like an even playing field with the world. They're experiencing this trauma and they're processing it in a different way. And honestly, I really feel like the decisions that some people make within these next few weeks, it's going to be a huge impact in their lives and their businesses with the way that they're reacting to the current environment that we find ourselves in.
Absolutely. I think it's key. And that's why I think it's very important for those of us that have been in this environment of working at home and using the digital media that we understand to speak out and say, it's okay. Like it's going to be okay. And not only is it going to be okay, but this is a massive opportunity for your business, no matter what you do.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So girl, we outlined some really, really cool stuff. And I know the strategist in you has a way that you want to communicate and deliver this for like the maximum impact. So I am going to just pass it back to you and let you run with it. And just if I have any sort of like questions or anything like that pops up as we go, but I'm handing you the wheel here, babe.
You're sweet. Thank you. Feel like we could have talked forever before we even went on here. I love that we're doing this. This is fun. So what we were talking about was the conversations that you and I are both having with our clients and our friends in this industry about what is not only the appropriate and ethical response to this crisis as a business owner, but what are the opportunities. You know, we talk about a SWOT analysis when we build a business or when we critique our businesses throughout our reviews in a year. What are we doing? Like, as we're looking at that and we're doing that review of like, okay, whether we had to shutter our doors, like I have family who have had to completely shut their doors, or we have an online business that doesn't seem to have changed much. Mine has had quite an uptick in the things because of the nature of what I do. And so how do we respond to this? Specifically talking about digital media, and I'm not just talking marketing. So marketing, PR, sales, the whole gamut of the front end of our business, all the way through to customer service. And again, customer service, like I have family that own a residential glass shop, right? So all the way like this, I feel like what we were talking about earlier and what we're going to talk about now, pertains to everyone right now. So first off, it's going to be okay. Like this is one of those things. And I don't say that tongue in cheek. It's not one of those things that I think that everything is going to be roses all of the time. I do believe that we're in a very difficult time. There are people who are losing family members. So I would never say this like piffle, no big deal. It's going to be fine. I do think it's a big deal. And I think it will fundamentally change a lot of systems in our country, education, business. But I believe that businesses that are on top of it and are paying attention to what they can do right now and not putting their head in the sand can really, will really see that they will be on top when this whole thing everything levels out when this whole thing calms down a little bit in the next probably 6 months or something like that. So there are 3 things that you and I talked about that I would be focusing on right now when we're talking about digital media, front end messaging, customer service type thing. So I'm just going to go through these really quickly. Pop in here because a lot of this stuff is stuff that you mentioned and stuff that you do really, really well in your programs and in your group. So the first one is Amplify, which we love that word, Amplify.
Yes.
Amplify Blue Sky. So Blue Sky is a term, for those of you that don't know, that we use when we're valuing a company for sale, right? So when we look at purchasing a company or selling a company, we look at the different areas of value. So we value, physical asset, right? So the location that you're in, the building that you own, the inventory that you have. And then there is a portion of the value of your company called Blue Sky. And Blue Sky is goodwill. It's essentially the name that you have. It's the sentiment of your brand and the goodwill that you have with the world in general, a common goodwill with everyone, and the goodwill that you have, the loyalty that you have with your customers and clients. So this is the number one opportunity we have right now, and I believe that this is our moral obligation to step up for the world and our clients. So how do we amplify Blue Sky? This is just common sense. We don't need to not sell. And I'm actually of the ilk that it would be a shame if we stopped selling, because this is actually when the economy needs us to continue to generate income, so that those of us that can create income need to continue to do that in an ethical way, right? Not gouging people, not going out and securing 1 million rolls of toilet paper so we can sell it for $500 a roll, like just being really wise about that. But continuing to sell is really smart. But how do we garner Blue Sky? How do we garner goodwill in this time? There is no time in, I think, history where we could reach as many people at once, the easiest and free, than we have right now with digital media. Just getting out there, being like frequently creating content. And there has never been another time where we could be as, and flippant isn't the word, but relaxed in our content creation. Everybody's sitting at home in their jammies and half the world doesn't have pants on, y'all. Like,
right.
No big deal about how you look. Y'all, it's 6 o'clock in the morning where I am. Cassie and I were talking about just like bedhead, don't care. Like, I do have pants on. Thank you very much. But like, we really are just like, whatever right now. Like, everything's chill. The whole world is sitting around on their couches looking for entertainment and encouragement. Give them that.
Yeah.
Show them that you have optimism. Show them that you can help them. Even if it's just offering to do something for them right now. It doesn't have to be related to your glass shop. It doesn't have to be related to your business. Just, hey, how can I help? Or, hey, this is something I saw my grocery store doing the other day that was super helpful for you. Maybe that would help you too if you own a grocery store, or if your family members own a grocery, just whatever it is that you think could be encouraging and uplifting right now. So let's make sure that we're doing that. Like, that's number one, is just like, write that on your computer. It's how can I amplify Blue Sky right now, and just be encouraging to people, right? That's one of those things that you won't see right now the huge benefits of that. Although I have seen, like I said, an uptick in my business because people are seeing me more and they're seeing that I'm not, parasitic in my business. But this is one of those things that will garner bring value to your whole company years down the road, because during a crisis is when so many businesses are made, right? Like, how many brands show them their true colors or whatever it is during this time, and they're remembered for that kindness, right?
Right. Yeah. And is it all right if I just add a little bit to that real quick?
Whatever.
Before we move to number 2, because I think this is an opportunity. And that's what Holly and I were talking about, the ways that we serve our customers and our clients, and on our end, on the agency side within the group and coaching and the done for you services, we teach this from foundation 1. as a strategy. So you're always in this cycle of paying it forward, leading with value, making sure that people see you show up and serve. But not all businesses are built on that foundation. And this is such an incredible opportunity to see the gap and step in and fill it. And there's so many right now that I saw. I think it was Columbia the other day where the CEO was taking a cut to pay all of the employees. And there was a comment on the thread, and this is the perfect example of blue sky in action. One of the commenters said, "I have never owned a Columbia jacket. The zipper sucks, but now one will forever hang in my closet." That was so much brand loyalty right there through one action. And if you were to put that in a balance sheet, that's just a one-time line item of like that CEO saying, "I'm going to cut this and I'm going to go without." But that ripple effect of that blue sky, that goodwill that he just created, you can't even put a price tag on an advertising campaign budget for that type of loyalty that was instantaneous like that. It was incredible. So it's a huge opportunity to step up and serve.
That's really powerful. That's cool. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's just one of those things where, a lot of people are saying, what opportunities can I create for myself to make money right now? And there are some that, I mean, that's a real need. Like that's a legitimate, thing that we need to be thinking about. But for some of us that are just kind of maintaining right now, and honestly, even everybody, this goodwill is one of those things that, and we don't do it parasitically. Like I said, like we're just being humans right now, like you would to your neighbor. You wouldn't walk over to your neighbor's house right now in the middle of quarantine life and say, "Hey, I found this thing that I know you need, give me all your money." It just doesn't, and that's not how we're going to, roll anyway. I know that's not how your community is. So that's a big thing. So that's number one thing that I would be focusing on. And if there's nothing else you could do that. Right? Just give, right? And that's what you guys do in your community anyway. I know that. So the second thing I would do is build your strategy, your content. If we're just talking about content, which is the world that I live in all the time. Build your content smarter, not harder. Okay. So how we do this is we're going to be thinking about content from two different angles. So when we play the game of marketing digitally, we're going to play, whether it's paid or organic is not paid content. We're playing two different games. And I use the term game lightly. I need to figure out something else, some way to explain that. But there are two things that we're doing. We're playing the game of just humans. And this is just the marketing understanding of what people like, how to create messaging and reach people where they're at, and understanding avatars and reaching people with the kind of messages that they need to hear that lead to conversion, and all the things that we know about psychographics and psychology and sociology and those sorts of things, and just being a normal human being, right? That's one thing. We're reaching hearts and minds with our messages. The other thing we're doing is we're playing a game against a computer. It's very much a game of knowing the algorithms and understanding how we even get our content out, because we can't even do the first part of getting to reach hearts and minds and seeing what resonates with people and blessing people with our messages if we can't get through the algorithm and actually get seen on the screen. Right. So right now we have opportunities. So everyone says there's a saturation of social, right? Where there's too much going on. There's no way I'm going to get seen. Everybody's posting all this stuff. So first off, I don't agree with that 100%, because there's a lot of people who are atrophying right now. They're pulling away because of like, they're not visible because they don't know how to do it right, or they feel like they shouldn't, or they're, really in a slump emotionally and they just don't create. But the flip side of that is there is an abundance of attention, right? So there are a ton of people in their jammy pants sitting at home looking for, and I'm going to say these two things out of all the types of content we create, of education, actually three things: education, entertainment, and encouragement. Like they're looking for that stuff right now, right? Depending on what they're motivated by and what they need right now. So we need to make sure that we're creating in a way that takes advantage of this opportunity on social. And so the first thing I always say is, if we can create with longevity in mind, even in a time like this, we are going to be better off. So this isn't talking necessarily about all the content we're just putting out to increase goodwill and saying, how can I help you? When we're talking about our brand messaging, or like, how do we create, and this is in a time of crisis or not, when we create content, or when we start to think about putting content out there and like, what do we say? I always say we talk about like a content waterfall idea, where the pillar, the piece of content that everything else needs to flow from, needs to be created smarter. So we need to create with keywords in mind. So what are people actually searching for on the platforms where there's search intent, right? So this is YouTube, and honestly, just start with Google. So if you don't know how to do keyword research, if you don't know how to understand what people are actually looking for, then just start by typing in your topic or a question somebody might ask, and just into the Google search and look at the drop down. That's simple as all it needs to be, right? So glass, like residential glass, or cleaning my windows, or whatever else it is along those lines, or how to understand copywriting on social media, or whatever else it is. Just type that in, figure out what those things are. Use Answer the Public is another tool that I use all the time, where you type in your topic and it gives you everything everybody's looking for. So starting your content smarter. So now we know that social is not a search engine. So it doesn't rely on all the search topics and those sorts of things. It plays the game a little bit differently. But when we understand what people are looking for and we create with that in mind first, then it's super easy to create social content around those topics, because we already have a topic idea. We don't have to use the keywords. We don't have to speak blog-ese or, search ease, but we know the topics that people already know where the traffic is. We're just stepping into the lane of people's thinking about this. So if I want people to be thinking about digital marketing right now, or glass, I am going to be trying to figure out what questions they were asking before all this stuff happened, because they're still asking those questions. They just have more time to learn it. Right.
Yeah,
so
very true.
Then we're gonna create a piece of pillar content. I call it trigger content in our business, but it's the piece that when you pull the trigger, everything else should flow from it. And I'll talk about what that looks like later. But the idea is we're creating one piece of content on a search platform or a podcast. So it's blog, YouTube, or a podcast. Or actually a Facebook Live is just fine, because we can use that for a podcast, where you go on and you teach based on this keyword research that you've done. Because then we can use that piece of pillar content, that trigger content, on a search platform later. You can just bank it up, use it later, or you can use it right now if you have a platform created. Either way, right now, you just need to be creating content. So whether we can use it later or now, right? I mean, you use your content. You have a podcast. Do you have a YouTube as well?
Yes. We're taking all of because I do the interviews like this over Zoom. And so we're taking all of the interviews and we're loading them into YouTube. We're going to do the keywords, the thumbnails, the title. So that's in the works. It's not up and running now, but it was one of those things where it's like now during this shift, I mean, because our business is sort of like yours. Like we had some contracts that were like, they went into that kind of scared, I'm going to wait mode. And then we had other people who were like, I need this now. Like I drug my feet. I shouldn't have. So like we've had that spike as well, but we went ahead and sort of made a roadmap between like projects and stuff like that we're going to get the YouTube up and running. So I'm excited about that. So woohoo, I'm doing what Holly wants me to do.
That's super exciting. Well, and you're doing it right anyway. So the idea is we're going to find one piece of content that we can be creating regularly. So that's like, if you want to do a YouTube, for those of us that don't have that stuff set up, just do it on Facebook. It doesn't matter. Just say, hey, on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock, I'm going to go on Facebook in my pajama pants. It doesn't really matter right now, you guys. The key is just getting used to creating consistently and then banking up that content. I don't care where you put it, y'all, like on your machine, you can put it on Dropbox. I use G Drive because that's the easiest thing for me. Like just put it somewhere right now and just continue to create, and then we can step into the next step. But the biggest thing is if you start smart, which is starting with stepping into traffic where it already is, then you don't have to do it backwards. Most people create social, where they just talk about whatever comes up or whatever's in the moment, what I call in the moment stuff. They create that, they create their show or everything about that. And then they turn around and try to make that work on search platforms, and it doesn't. So if you do it the other way around, what we end up with is this longevity of content, because now you're playing the game where the stuff lasts longer than the snippet of 15 seconds or whatever things show up on Twitter, right? So we take that one piece of pillar content, and then the next step, and then do you want to talk more about that, like creating smart? Are you good there?
No,
Given
I totally, like, I have this conversation all the time, and it's pretty much like, I think the phrase that we use a lot that I've probably, it's like beating a dead horse, is like, don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel. Like you said, like, step back, take a look. And I love that you're calling it the pillar content, the trigger content. It's also like, what is the lane you're going to own? What is that heart and soul of that message? So you don't have to go in there every time. Like you said, like, you do the research, you figure out what it is, and then you just go and you keep delivering, and you're not ever, in that start, stop creative mode. It actually allows you to kind of just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and honing in that message and just refining it where it's smoother and better received. And it's just one of those things, like, if you take a look and you pay attention to Myron Golden, Peng Joon, all of the ones, even Steven, like, you will see consistency in their content. Like, there is a lane that they own, that they are always speaking about, that they're always teaching about, they're always educating about. It is not like, oh, look at this. It's like we come from merchandising, like, where you get the sales pages, and it's called cherry picking. So you would see what sales are on Publix, or you would see what sales are on a Walmart, and you would go to all of these different stores, and you would cherry pick the sales. And it's almost like, don't do that with your content. Don't just, like you said, not have a plan, not have a strategy, and show up and just talk about whatever kind of comes to mind. If you do that little bit of research, you are completely working smarter and not harder. And you're putting 100% of your thought and creativity and your resources into delivering and creating that content.
correct. And I love the like, it's almost like the squirrel thing, that cherry picking idea, where that feeling of baseline again, like, oh, I'm here again, I got to figure out what I'm going to do, shouldn't, like, I hate the word strategy, to be honest with you, because strategy is one of those things that a lot of us just glaze over because it feels like that's going to take forever. Like, strategy, you got to pay somebody to understand what it is. Strategy, like a strategist, those are the expensive people. Like, it's just one of those things that like, in this instance, it's stupid simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll just, like, my whole business, here it is. Like, if we can create things with longevity in mind, and then take those topics and then talk about them somewhere else, then you're good. Like, just do that.
Yep.
And all it takes is one time. Like, it will take me 4 hours to sit with an influencer. I just yesterday, where I'm getting started next week with and I can't say who it is yet, but a world champion athlete, right? Like, top of the top athlete. And he's like, I have this program where I'm coaching these other athletes, excuse me. And I want to have this message out, but it's just kind of been all over the place. What do I do? And I told him in 4 hours, I can give him a content strategy, just talking back and forth with him, asking him questions that will last the rest of his business, as long as he doesn't change what he's teaching. Yep. Right. So really all it is thinking through. But one of the questions I'm going to ask him, one of the tools that I use is called MindMeister. You ever seen MindMeister?
No, I haven't seen it in action. Is it like mind mapping?
Yeah. So it's just the bubble in the middle and all the things outside, right? The web or whatever else it is, right? It's a free tool. I use it all the time. It is like, and you can export it. You can use it, like, a team can come in. You can add all your little linky links in there. It's all happy pants, right? So it makes me happy inside my body. Like, when you sit down and you come up with something and you just say, this is my business, like glass, this is my business, digital marketing or content marketing or whatever else it is, like, take that and then come up with 5 or 7 things around it, max 7, and then just let your mind go out from there, right? That's it. Like, that, unless you change your offerings, like drastically change your offerings, and you're doing something completely different or starting a new division in your business, that stuff shouldn't change over time. Like, you let yourself go for 2 hours on one of those things, or 30 minutes a day for a week or whatever, you're going to have everything you need to do for the next forever and ever. Amen. And now it's just plugging it into a system that allows you to create consistently, right? So where are you going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not difficult at all. So the next thing we need to do as growing businesses, though, is we need to be thinking along the lines of leveraging a team. And one of the things that we teach in our programs is using the software that we have to kind of bring in and train a lean team of VAs to help you with what you're doing. When I say team, a lot of the solopreneurs out there, or businesses that are just starting out get a little bit scared because it's like, I don't have a team. I don't have anybody working with me. If we think like we have a team or that we are the team first, and we put the different hats on, like mentally while we're working, then it's going to be easier for us to say, now I can bring somebody in when it's time we've reached max capacity on things. So the first thing obviously is, create goodwill and just be creating in the moment. The second thing is making sure that we're creating smart, so that we're consistently creating things from a keyword perspective. And the last one is just, we need to have a system that we're using that allows someone to come underneath us and take what we've made and then make more things out of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
In one instance, like if it was just me, because I think a lot of people out there right now, either they're not in a place where they're going to start hiring people, or they're waiting to see what's going to happen, or they are solopreneurs anyway, and they're kind of like, how do I do this on my own, right? So I'll just give you one workflow that we recommend, right? So you take your Facebook Live, and we're going to take our Facebook Live and we're going to use a tool called repurpose.io. And that Facebook Live is going to be automatically pulled by repurpose.io over into our content repository, wherever we're keeping that, Dropbox or Google. And then we're going to go in after our Facebook Live, and we're going to take that recording, and we just pull the audio because it will pull audio or video for you. We're going to pull that audio and we're going to upload into otter.ai, otter like the animal, .ai. And this is my secret weapon that I've just unleashed into your entire world. Otter.ai is the least expensive, most trustworthy transcription service on the planet. I need to have an affiliate relationship with them. I'm telling you what, because they are so awesome.
I was thinking, yes, it's so funny because as we grow the company, Jorge and I, we have a ton of people asking us, what do you use for this? What do you use for that? What do you use for that? So like, that's one of the things. We use Google Drive as well. I'm like, we need a master, like add this to the list of what we need. We need a master affiliate link. And it's not that it's like, I'm not going to give you the link without getting any money for it. Cause I've shared other people affiliate links just because I knew they had them and we don't have ours set up, but it's one of those things where, into the category of working smarter and not harder, you have those different streams of revenue and the different ways to make money and bring in, that profitability into the business. Otter AI, they have, they've made a lot of, especially solopreneurs, like really be able to do this. And it's a game changer for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got it connected to our call right now, and it automatically pops up from my calendar if I have a call, and you hit a button, like I'll go live and it will hit a button, or a little thing will pop up on my desktop that says, click here when you're ready to transcribe. And I'll just click it and it will open
it. I've only used it in the app version. Okay.
Serious space right now. Okay. So here's the thing. You pull it into Otter and you do the thing, right? Yes. So this is just one workflow. There's so many more like things that we do in the middle of. I have an 89 step thing for this, but so this is just like stupid simple workflow. So you pull it into Otter, and then you're going to download it from Otter. You can export it into and it's kind of funny because if you don't pay for Otter Pro or something, you have to you export it as a TXT file, which is like a wonky looking file, but it doesn't matter because here's the magic of G Drive. You pull that TXT file into G Drive, and G Drive's like, I don't do TXT files. You're like, that's cool. They say, how do you want to open it? And you're like, I want to open it as a G doc, right? And you click it, and it like turns it into a G doc for you, and then you just delete the text file anyway. So here's the thing that I do. I then go through it, and our team does this, but I go through it, and I take my yellow highlighter in G Drive, and I highlight everything that could be an Instagram. I don't know why yellow is Instagram in my head, but for me it is. So I go through it and I highlight everything in yellow that could be an Instagram quote. And you can do it however you want. You can have comments on the side or whatever else, but just do that. And then as you highlight things, you have a spreadsheet open on the side, and you go through and you pull them out and you just put it in a spreadsheet, and you pull it out and you put it in a spreadsheet. So then by the end of it, you're going to have, and you'll get better and better at this as you go. And if you're fluent with that, and you could do the same thing for Twitter, it doesn't really matter, but you're going to end up having like 60 little things, like Amplify blue sky. Like that could be a quote card over my face.
Totally a hashtag.
Right? Like it is just one of those things, right? Like once you get used to it and you're fluent in a platform, or you're used to it, and just pick one, don't go crazy with it. You don't have to have all the platforms all the time, but go through it like that, right? So then once you've gone through the entire thing, you're going to go back in a different color. So blue for Facebook, and you're going to do the Facebook stuff. And Facebook's a little bit longer, but you're going to just go right over the top of the other one because it doesn't really matter. You're the only one in there, right? So in this manner, what we're going to, and then again, you're putting that over into a spreadsheet. So what we're ending up with here, you guys, is and forgive me, my husband is a hunter, right? So when you take an animal, we want to use as much of the animal as we can. We call it boning out an animal, right? So you're going to pick the chicken, all the stuff off your chicken, so you can use the bones and do all the things. And so we're gonna completely pick this one piece of content clean, and then once we're done and we feel like we've got this, we move it over into a blog folder, and I just throw it over there. All the social content is pulled out of it. Now it needs to be a blog, right? So now, and whether you do this now or do it later, again, you guys have the transcript. At the very least, just go through the transcript step, and then you have it forever and ever, amen, right? So now we have the spreadsheet with all this stuff. So now we can go back through, and you guys, a lot of this stuff is evergreen. It's just stuff we can use forever and ever. So now you have 2 months, you have 60 Instagram quotes. I mean, legitimately, you guys, this happens. Like, it's not difficult. And you can reword one, instead of amplify blue sky, it's like, have you ever heard of blue sky? Like, it really is one of those things that you can do a million things with. Right. So once you get that done, then just start tweak the copy so that it fits a little bit better, and then start matching images to it and uploading it into platforms and scheduling it out. Like, now you have 2 months worth of content, right? And again, this is all about the same thing. So you can have, if you had 60 quotes, but we're all talking about blue sky, then drip that out, schedule that over 6 months, or whatever your scheduler that you're using will allow you to do. Like, if one of your pillar content around your little circle in your mind map is blue sky, then now you have 60 pieces of content for the next 6 months that you can drip out over that one thing. You guys, that's one Facebook Live. That's one 20-minute conversation monologue that you've had, whether you even posted it. You could talk at yourself for 20 minutes and do the exact same thing and show up right now, right? Eventually, when you're ready, you pull in somebody and you say, hey, I want you to take this transcript and do all the Instagram-y things out of it and schedule it. Yeah. And I want this other person to do Facebook, or you do Facebook, and it's one of those things. And then you give the boned out piece of content to somebody who creates blogs, and you're like, rewrite this so that it sounds good. I've done it from a keyword perspective. I already have the topic, the keywords, whatever, however deep you go with SEO. So here you go. Now you have the piece of content, create it for me, go. It's easy to create and leverage with a team in that way. And that's just one workflow out of so many things you could do.
Yeah. I love how, just creative and systematized your brain is, because, and I think I'm even going to do a case study for this, with this is a podcast interview that honestly on the back end is a mini workshop, right? And yeah. I am literally, I will publicly say this, we will come back around and we will see just how many pieces of content that we can create out of just this one podcast interview. And the unique thing here is, obviously, if you're listening to it, you don't know it, but we have a video as well. And we already touched on that a little bit. The video will go on YouTube. If I wanted to, I could probably cut it up and do a workshop in the Facebook group as well. I could probably, if I'm thinking of nurturing marketing, we didn't even touch on nurturing marketing in the email, but you did give a broad overview. This is not just social content. This is things that you can piece up and you can deliver at every level in your business. But if I wanted to, I could probably create a 5 to 7 day little email sequence with mini training videos on each one. The possibilities are endless. And I love that, because you give everyone a direction to run in, and it's still that same thing though, that same mindset of, begin with the end in mind. We're running towards the finish line, but we're running through the finish line, because just because we finish this one piece of content, we're not done yet. No. And that's the beautiful thing. So,
well, and keep in mind here's the thing, what we end up with is kind of an overwhelming, oh my gosh, that's a lot to do. Here's the thing though. If we do this right, and my goal with all of my programs is that people and our influencers, all the way up to, I have clients who are Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year. I have clients who are ClickFunnels is a client. I have clients who are creating massive. I have a client who came to me with 1,000 hours of infomercials. Oh my gosh, y'all, you only need to create. That person never needs to talk again. I'm like, just shut your mouth and go on vacation. Like, we got this. Like, you really, like, my goal is to get people to understand they only really need to be creating like 10% of what they think they need to be creating. Because if, like, I mean, we just talked for 20 minutes and you could give this to someone for not very much money and have them create all the things. We didn't even talk about a tenth of the things, right?
Right.
And like you're saying, okay, here's another bit of my framework that I'm going to eke out here. I don't talk about this much outside of my program, but here's the thing. We need to be thinking of creating our content and where we put this stuff in 3 phases. And this is, I will die on this hill. The first thing is we need to be thinking about customer service content. So are you delivering what you said you're going to deliver to the people who purchased something and who trust you already, like, know, trust you, have purchased from you? So if you're a digital educator, so do you have groups that you're delivering stuff to? This is your email list of clients. This is people who, I mean, whether they purchase from you or not, this is your loyalty. This is customer service content. So that's the first place we're putting content, right? We're thinking about that first. Do we have our bases covered there? Because a lot of entrepreneurs will get in the game and they'll focus all on their Instagram and their social media, and they're not hitting their email list, and they're not hitting people who have paid them monies to get that weekly training, right? So do we have all those bases covered? And keep in mind, we don't have to be the ones creating it all the time, right? I came to you with content today. Like, I brought the content ideas and all this stuff. Like, why wouldn't we say, hey, can you come into my group real quick and teach everybody about SEO? Right? I have one of the top SEO guys coming into my group next week to talk about how do we create content from an SEO perspective. So, like, I don't even have to be there. Like, I literally don't even come. Like, I give them a Zoom link. That's not me creating, right? So how do we think about this where we can say, if I talk for 20 minutes a week, could I legitimately create a content empire because I'm smart about how I do it? And then all I really need to do for the rest of the week, other than running this engine, whether I do it or my team does it, is I need to do what I call in the moment. So now we're talking about communication content. So we've covered customer service. Then we move on to communication, like brand communication. And then the last thing we focus on, which is backwards for most people, is conversion content. So then we talk about how often and where we're actually going to draw people and what we're doing with it. Once we think through our strategy with those 3 things in mind, in that order, then we're standing in integrity and delivering on what we said we would. And we're communicating our brand, and we're actually offering opportunities for people to join us in what we're doing.
And I thought I couldn't love you anymore.
If I don't think through things this way, y'all, I'll lose my mind. It has to be like, they all start with C. It's easier.
No, I absolutely love it. And it's, you have no idea how much in alignment we are. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you serve, like, the conversions and the sales will come.
Sure.
Right? If you lead with relationships, the revenue will come. And when you were like, yes, I know this is put last and it's backwards for, like, I love that it's last. I love that it's last, because if you always lead with the other ones, that's the easiest piece. And it's honestly, if you get it out of order, you're making it harder. If you're leading with just a sale or just a dot on your revenue goals or your pie chart, or what, if you can't treat somebody like a cell in a spreadsheet, they're a human. And that's what those first 2 are all about. And by the time you get to number 3, I mean, it's so much more than know, like, and trust. So, Holly Flick, will you marry me?
No, we need to do this more often. I think it's so fun. We've been wanting to do this for a long time. So I'm glad it finally happened, but I think it's just the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, all right, guys, that is going to be it for the podcast. We're going to wrap it up because we do have, we're already over time. Oh my gosh, Holly, I just realized we're already over time. But we do have a little bit of mini world domination plans to talk about. So thank you so much for joining me. Holly, any final words, any place that they can go and find you that we didn't mention in the podcast? Go ahead and take this opportunity and let them know, because, like, I love and adore just your methodology, your teaching. And it's just one more thing. People ask me all the time, and I'll say this really, really quickly, on the mindset of scarcity and abundance. Holly and I are very similar with what we do and how we serve our clients I love her. I will always send people to her. She has an incredible course. She has a software, and we will always look at this relationship and how we can support each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an abundant mindset. That is not looking at her as competition or she's going to take people away from me. Like, we will better serve our community and our clients by working together and sharing information and best practices and things like what we did on this podcast. We will serve at a greater capacity than ever thinking that someone is going to take something from us. So I just wanted to leave you with that final thought, because I know in the state of crisis, that may be you may not normally think that way, but you might start finding yourself tiptoeing into that scarcity mindset. Don't do it. Lean into your network and your friends and your peers and link arms, and we're going to get through this together.
100%. 100%. I appreciate that about you. And I think that that's one of the things we've met on a long time ago. As far as me, I'm easy. I'm Hello Holly Flick everywhere. So, and any platform, come hang out. I like Instagram because it's easy to chat, but anything. Like, right now I'm very much in the blue sky mode where it's like, man, how can I help anybody? So
Amen.
reach out if y'all have questions. I'm happy to help.
Another challenge that we're going to do. I'm sorry, I'm just so excited. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Holly. I love you.
I'm good. I'm loving it.
I am not only going to see how many pieces of content we can do out of the podcast, but how much we can blow up this Amplify blue sky, because that is a beautiful concept, and more people need to know about it.
Run with it. It's all yours, woman. Hey, along these lines, can I give you something in this?
Yes.
So in your test, I have like I said, like an 89 step podcast. What do you do with a podcast to blow it up?
Okay.
It's a Trello board. Can I give it to you and you can run it? It's in my program, but I want to give it to you and I want you to run it. So then you're not like recreating the wheel that we just talked about. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
And then you see, and then let me know how it works. Like, let me know
totally
what comes out of it. Cause I really think that everybody needs your message right now. Like, you have a platform and you have the trust of a lot of people and people are watching you. And so I think, like, anything I can do to help you get your message out and have more people see your happy smiling face right now and hear the message that we both want to give is like, we're okay and we're going to be better together.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love you, sister. Cool. All right. Bye, you guys.
Right, love you,
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.